There they go into the back. The blue line on. We have a race, and Satnova's beaten Pure Steel out by a length and a half.
Welcome to Talking Trots, hosted by Mortz and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The sensational Sydney sider, Seals to Sam, comes off the back straight. He's a bucket load of alliteration, this fellow.
Scott Bomber Hill will join the boys to look at the Friday night meeting at Gloucester Park.
Here comes Quinny. I'm the mighty Queen is 4 deep and letting go.
Sit back and enjoy Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
I'm the mighty Queen is just in front. Dasher VC can do no more. And the West Australian champion has done it again.
Yes, hello and welcome to another big edition of Talking Trots. Last week we saw the Diamond Classic for Westrel, and Mortz was away, but he still won the race with Ruby Lavera. It's a common occurrence here at Gloucester Park, and he thought, well, if I missed the show last week and we won the Diamond Classic, we got a couple in the Pearl Classic, so I'll have another week off and see if we can do the same with the Pearl Classic. And he's having another week off, but we're joined by, as I said, the best sub in the business, Oli Cownie. Oli, welcome to the program again.
Rad's great to be on. Yeah, it was a night dominated by Emily Savalco last week again, wasn't it? 4 winners, and that makes it back-to-back Friday nights with quartets. So pretty amazing, really. Yeah,
4 wins for Emily, a couple for Shannon, a 3 for Mike Reid. There was a few stars last Friday night, and of course, Ruby Lavera. Was a great performance.
She was fantastic. She dominated. She never really looked like getting beat, and she pulled away and opened up a pretty big margin on them, and she really looks to have come back nicely as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, really good, and driven in the heat by Trent Wheeler. He stuck with his favourite Raynette in the final, and Trent's going to be our guest tonight because he played a big hand in the Pearl Classic heats about 10 days or so ago, and then is going to line up with Justin Prentice with Elite Fleet this week in the Team Bond 3-year-old Pearl Classic. And I'll tell you what, it's a really even race, isn't it?
It is. I think the market says, you know, there were a few that probably just went up too big a price early. Obviously, Paint the Palette is a really nice horse and went up big odds, and that's been corrected. But certainly a few of them could win, couldn't they?
Well, we've got 5 of the 12 runners under double figures. The favourite at 7-4 in the old 270, and Elite Fleet's been supported now as well. So it's going to be a great race. And without further ado, let's get into it and introduce our very informed guest. But before we do, Elite Fleet open 370. It's out to 420. And then now back into 320, so it's pressing for favouritism against Belly Up, who's 270. He did run second in the heat behind Belly Up, had to see outside him, but draws inside him this week. And 2 starts ago, couldn't have been more impressive when it was a great drive by Gary Hall Jr., which showed his speed, and he proved too good Elite Fleet.
Again now from the Bettor side, and then She Can Play, and back on the inside is Little Miss Molly. Elite Fleet kept going by Hall Jr. The Bettor side's trying its heart out from She Can Play and Little Miss Molly, but Elite Fleet races home to win nicely by about 4 metres to the Bettor side.
Yeah, he's certainly found form, Elite Fleet, in this campaign, and his driver on Friday night joins us on the line, Trent Wheeler. Trent, welcome to the program.
How are you all?
Yeah, really good. Tell you what, it was a good night Pearl Classic heat for you. You won 2 of the 3 heats, and Elite Fleet ran second. It was a good night at the office.
Yeah, certainly was. Got a good opportunity from Justin and his owners, and took 3 horses there to qualify them, and we qualified all 3 of them. So yeah, it was definitely a productive night.
That was really good, and as you say, 3 in the final. Soon you qualified all 3. Did you get to choose which one you're going to drive in the final?
Yeah, I had the choice. I was happy to just go with Justin's choice, but he left it up to me, and so hopefully we've made the right choice, but sort of just aired on the barrier draw. The other 2 haven't drawn that good, and Elite Fleet's drawn good, so hopefully we've picked the right one.
Yeah, and the market says that 420 into 320. Do you think you'll be able to wrestle to the lead? Aiden held up from the inside in the heat, and Belly Up obviously is pretty strong on your meaty outside and led his heat up.
Yeah, I think we'll have to run the gate as hard as we can. Aiden's not normally someone that likes to give up the front, so we'll have to assess it from there, but we have to come out as quick as we can to hold the rest of them to our outside and probably try and keep the advantage on Belly Up.
he's been really impressive in his start so far. Elite Fleet, obviously, he won 3 in a row, and then he was so good in that second last start. What do you think his best asset is? Do you think he'll be a horse that is tougher or faster in time to come?
I think in time to come he'll get a bit faster. This is probably really his first prep. Like, I remember I drove him down at trials in Bunbury. That was his first time in, and then he's definitely come a long way this time, and he just keeps getting better.
He is exciting, and we might head back to race 1 to look at the rest of your drives.
Before we go there, you drove the other 2 in the heats. What did you think of the 2? I'm Massimo. He found the front and held off a really good Captain Sterling, and Paint the Palette was obviously a different style of run off a really a relatively slow tempo, came from well back and really finished strongly. What did you think of the other 2?
Yeah, all 3 of them were very good in their heats. Like Paint the Palette, I thought there'd be a bit more speed in that heat, and there turned out not to be a lot of speed, and then he had to make a wide run from a long way out, and he was good enough to get the job done. And then Massimo had to do a little bit early to hold up, and then Dill certainly tested him down the back in that 27 quarter. So yeah, all 3 of them were good in the heats, and the choice really just come down to the barrier draw.
Yeah, we'll head back to race 1 and have a look at the rest of your drives. In race 1, you've got the drive on Got a Good Warhol. He's always thereabouts, and he does have a bit of gate speed. Do you think you might be able to get to the front in that race?
Yeah, I definitely think Hayden will want to use a gate speed over a mile. The 2 inside us aren't overly quick, but there's a bit of speed outside of us, so we'll run the gate as hard as we can and then just have to assess it from there. But it was good. I drove him Monday at Pinjarra, and he was good. Sort of got held up late, one of those 1-lap races. So the mile will suit him.
In the third, Follow Rock and Roll, tell you what, you're driving in great form, Trent, but tell you what, this is one of your better drives to pick Follow Rock and Roll through when he won at Gloucester Park a couple of starts ago. How do you see him going in race 3?
Dad's got him going super. He was good in the Narrogin Cup. They ran a real solid last 1200, 28, 28, 28. He probably hasn't really been in those type of races yet. Friday's race looks to be a pretty competitive race. There's a few nice horses in it, so we'll just drive him like we drove him when he won at Gloucester Park, and if he's good enough, hopefully we can pick a few off late.
In race 4, you haven't done so well at the barrier draw here, but he is seemingly going really well, Jaws of Lincoln. He obviously flashed into third last start in what looked like a really good run there, but over a mile, drawing 9. Does that make it a bit tough?
It certainly does, but yeah, he was very impressive last week, the way he got home. So being a mile race, hopefully there's a bit of speed, and if he drops out again and doesn't use his gate speed, I haven't spoke to Justin about that, but yeah, if he dropped out again and got home like he did, there's no reason why he can't figure in the finish.
And you're driving Push Button Rock for Peter Anderson. This fella's nothing if not consistent.
Yeah, all Peter's horses are consistent. Barrier draw probably doesn't help her in this run, but yeah, she'll be thereabouts. They always seem to be able to run in the top 5.
You've got one more drive, and it comes in the last race, and it's on a horse you have a pretty good association with. That's Not My Gate. She seems to be going pretty well at the moment. Do you think you can win on her off 60 metres?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Aiden would have got the choice, and he start with Patch, so that might be a lead into that. But if she steps well and she can sort of just keep trucking, she doesn't seem to be blessed with any high speed, but she can sort of just keep rolling along. But Michael's horse might be in front of us, making us all chase. So yeah, that looks to be a nice competitive trot race.
Yeah, having a rare weekend off for you, Trent, this weekend.
Yeah, had to take Saturday and Sunday off because it's the Minister for War and Finance's 40th birthday. So if I went to the trots for that, I might come home to see my stuff on the front lawn.
I tell you what, though, you don't have too many weekends off, and it's going well for you. The last 2 seasons, you got desperately close to the 100 winners, but you've broken through the $1 million in stakes. This year, you're on target for both. You must be happy with the way everything's going for you.
Yeah, certainly. It's just been a little goal of mine to try and get to 100 winners in a season. So got to go to all those meetings to try and get there, but hopefully this year we can get it done.
And driving for a couple of prominent trainers like your number 2 driver for Aiden, and your virtually number 2 driver for Justin now as well, and a lot of the times their second drives are almost as good as their number 1 seeds.
Yeah, certainly. This sport's all about opportunities, and if you get the opportunities, you just got to try and make the most of them. And driving for Aiden and Justin and a couple of the bigger stables, and then like when Peter's horses and Hayden Rees's horses go to those outer country tracks, they're always competitive as well. So I've got pretty good support at the moment. So hopefully we can keep ticking the boxes.
All right, mate. Good luck tomorrow night. It's a great race. You've got a few really competitive drives, and then have a great weekend at the 40th birthday.
Thank you very much.
Good on you, Trent Wheeler there. One of the real nice guys of harness racing, and tell you what, there's not too many in better form at the moment than him.
He certainly is. He's a lovely guy, and he's driving terrific at the moment. So he looks to have a few good chances tomorrow night.
Yeah. What did you think of the Team Bond 3-year-old Pearl Classic? I'll give you the Tab Touch market before we go through, and there has been a few changes in it. And we've got Seaside Magic at 17, Elite Fleet, as I said, open 370, got out touch 420 and now back into 320, pushing for favouritism. Belly Up open 240, it's out to 280. The better side's pretty solid at $41. Major Disco 126, Pick Me 126. Paint the Palette, $17 he opened up. Touch $6.50. Now he's back out to $7.50. I'm Massimo $4.80 to $6. Mr. Moonwalker at $1.51. Captain Paprika inside the back row at $1.51. Captain Sterling, who was impressive in his heat when running second at $5, and When in Vegas, who was a funny run in the heat. Sort of looked like it wasn't keeping up down the back, and then shot through and grabbed third and qualified. It's pretty solid at 21.
Looked in all sorts, didn't it? Right out the back. Last couldn't go, and then absolutely flashed into fourth. I was on by Royal Command to place in that race, and it was a pretty long home straight. And no, it was a terrific effort though by When in Vegas to get into fourth, and maybe that's a sign first up from a spell that he's just come back better. And as you mentioned, there are certainly a few chances in the race, and it really does look a race without a lot of gate speed on the front row. So whether Elite Fleet might be able to force underneath the likes of Belly Up and I'm Massimo and horses like that and take up the front, and if he got there, it'd be hard to catch Elite Fleet.
Trent did say that Aiden does like to hold up, and he's an aggressive driver, and it works out majority of the time. But Seaside Magic in his heat got it all his own way and was defeated. Does that maybe play into probably might take a sit in this type of race, or do you think we just got to chips in and hold? Yeah,
that'll be really important in the interviews tomorrow night. But I'd personally think maybe he'd be better off taking the trail. Seaside Magic certainly got away with a bit on the front end there, and it wasn't a heat maybe with a lot of depth, and Paint the Palette was a long way back in that heat and was good enough to come over the top and win. So I think maybe if the pressure is applied by a few of them and there's a horse out 3 wide, that maybe then Aiden would relent and be happy to take that lead back trail.
All right, who do you want to be on?
Well, I think I would have wanted to be on Elite Fleet at the $4, but maybe the 320s are just about right. I think Paint the Palette, $7.50, he was way too big a price early. Yeah. He's probably the one that I'd maybe want to be on, and Captain Sterling as well. Like, I think he could get out to a really good price, and he's just a high quality horse, Captain Sterling, and he's probably got a really suitable draw there following through Elite Fleet, so he shouldn't be too far away in the run.
Yep, no, it's a really good race, the Team Bond 3-year-old Pearl Classic, and on the back of the Diamond Classic last week. This looks a lot more open than Ruby Lavera, who was pretty short all the way through and justified that short quote.
Yeah, she was shortening up all day, Ruby Lavera, and you sort of thought, oh, is she really $1.20 chance?
Yeah.
But she sort of got around $1.05 the way she wanted
In
them.
the end, they didn't pull the plugs.
Yeah,
Junior didn't pull the plugs. I think Katie had to pull them out after the line. And
she was really impressive.
Yeah.
I think she looks a horse that will win plenty of races in the future. And sometimes you can question the format of some of these age restricted races, but she looks a horse that can definitely make that step up in future.
Yeah, she looks to be bigger and stronger than she was as a 2-year-old, doesn't she?
She does, and
she won the Diamond Classic as a 2-year-old, making it the double like Waterloo did in her 2 and 3-year-old year. But in the 2-year-old, I think she sat 3 fence with Kyle Harper, and he got the run through when Justin was away in Sydney with Never Ending.
And she certainly wasn't $1.20 in that race either.
No.
So I think if you were able to find her there, you would have done pretty well. She might have even been 100-1 in that race, I think, and she was just too good. She was very well driven, as you mentioned, and looks like Kyle Harper might get another opportunity to do something similar on Saturday night as from an inside back row draw.
Yeah, in the Mini Classic. Let's hope so for his owners. All right, this segment's brought to you by Retrovision, your local WA electrical appliance specialist, where RAC members receive an additional 5% every day. And there's the big superstores at Ellenbrook, Bunbury, Albany. There's big stores everywhere. Make sure you go and see them, and certainly receive the additional 5% on top of the best price. So go and see the team members in one of the stores and tell them Mort sent you, and they'll look after you and all the electrical appliance that you love. All right, good talking to Trent.
Yeah, it was. He gave really good insight on all of the apprentice runners there, which he's been driving so well recently. And yeah, I mean, the way he's driving at the moment, even the runners at longer odds tomorrow night may be worth having something on them. Yeah,
indeed. And we're going to come back and preview a number of the races. I'll tell you what's a really good race. The Remembering Josh Dunn, race number 3. It's a fantastic race. Better's Pride, Lion Queen, Golden Load, Soundwave, who won last start. A really good race.
Star Casino was incredible last start. Really, that run was out of this world, and I think that was clearly...
What are the odds?
Yeah, I think Star Casino last start was probably career best, so yeah, there's certainly a few chances there. What are the odds returning is a really nice horse, as you mentioned, so... And obviously Soundwave, last start winner there as well, who was a long way back in the field and swept over the top of them. So a few nice horses there. All
right, Bomber's got to come back. That's one of the races he's got a preview for us on the other side of the break. But to go to the break, let's go to the main race last week. It was the Westrel Diamond Classic for the 3-year-old fillies, and it was a one-act affair with Ruby Lavera.
On the outside, Poppy on the beach. Wicked Lover is coming down the outside. She can play, sneaking home as well. But Ruby Lavera is going to walk in over Gelsomino Amal and Wicked Lover, and She Can Play. And an easy win to Ruby Lavera. Won it well by 8.
There's always a lot more in store for you at Retrovision. Like Retrovision's lowest price guarantee. If you find a lower price on a same-stocked item, we'll beat it. There's our 60-day price promise, where we'll refund you 120% of the difference if you find a lower advertised price on any purchase. Plus, RAC members save an extra 5% every day of the year. After 60 years, a lot has changed, but there's still a lot more in store at Retrovision.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
In front, Montana DJ, but Artie Sight by the Seaside's got it. Hit the front. Skyloo tries to go with it, but the mare's too good. And Artie by the Seaside goes home strongly to score. Second home.
Yeah, that was Artie by the Seaside who won virtually 90 or better, so virtually a free-for-all. Artie's by the Seaside. Morts doesn't like me when I play his horses getting beaten. So I've just done it for you. Oli, Montana DJ.
It was an interesting race. They really did hum along there. I think they went 29, 29, 28, 28. So I think he was still pretty good in second there to kick back, and Skyloo had had the trip on the pegs and he couldn't quite get past him for second there, and it's still pretty good prize money for second on a Friday night.
So. It's very good. Pays the bills Pays the bills, Ollie.
Yeah, it certainly does. And he was a winner a few nights before that. So, we got him paid for a while.
Indeed. All right, this segment's brought to you by Loans 123 Car Loans Debt Consolidation. All your personal finance. The man to see is Stevie Sell, the new nut, at loans123.com.au, or the very easy to remember 1-800 100 100. They're still doing the things the banks can't. He's a great supporter of us here at Talking Trots. He's a great supporter of Tab Radio and sponsors plenty of segments with Morts through the week on Tab Radio, and great to have him on board as a sponsor here. All right. It's been a tough couple of weeks, but we're ready to bounce back, and Bomber Hill's here to right the ship. Bomber, welcome to the program.
Jeez. G'day, guys. How you going?
Yeah, it's tough work, isn't it?
It's been a couple of the toughest weeks I've ever had. I wish I was going half as good as Ollie's horses. I'd be wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah. If we were just supporting Emily, you'd be that far in front. I know one punter who does. He sent me a message. He backed Emily's 4. He backed Fremantle. He backed the West Coast. It was a big weekend.
Dude, that's a fill up. I said to someone at the end of the night last week, I said, "Oh, gee, I've had a terrible night," and they're like, "Oh, what do you mean? Your horse just won a metro race?" And I was like, "No, I've lost far more than I get for the prize money."
and the week before in the Group 2, I think you won and it wasn't much better.
Yeah, I don't think I backed a winner the whole night. So
no,
at least there's a little bit coming back. You're losing on the punt, but there's a bit coming back on.
Yeah,
it covers it.
Tell you what, it's been good competitive racing though.
Yeah, it sure has. And even, this week you look through the fields and, I think in that tipping panel there that you've got going at Gloucester Park, I think I've tipped about 3 winners in the last 2 weeks, and that might be being kind to myself.
That's like me on the in your NRL tipping competition. I've just lost a leg. Anyway, we'll see if State of Origin helps us. But I don't think it will. Somehow it makes it even worse. Anyway, we've got a big 10 races at Gloucester Park tomorrow night, and it is the Team Bond Pearl Classic for the 3-year-old boys, and the first of 10 races at 5:18. And the first race we're going to preview happens to be the Team Bond GP free entry, and that's right, it's free entry here at Gloucester Park. 1730 metres, and let's have a look at the Tab Touch market for race time number 1. Gears in a Whirl at 126, Zwade at 18, Got a Good Warhole at 23, N Parent Sir at 330 and favourite, Jingle Jules at 14, Get Your Bets On at 10, Mr. Copper at 26, Akuto 390, Cork and Run at $8, Backline Minor Catastrophe $10, Pocketful of Opals $8.50, and My Sweet Addiction at 10. It's a relatively even race to kick off the card. Bomber, which way do you go?
Yeah, I'm with Kudo, Rads. It's been a while since I've seen one placed as well as him as far as class goes. He obviously comes up with a wide draw, which overcomes that somewhat, and but he does have plenty of gate speed, and I think he's a big chance of crossing from the outside, particularly from that front straight start. He's a horrible numerical form as a result of racing in higher class and just struggling to find a suitable sort of race with a draw. But he's capable of running a sort of 156 mile around here, and if he does find the pegs, I can't have him beaten. I probably can't have him winning if he doesn't, but I think he's the right price to bet regardless.
He did burn very hard for the lead a couple of runs ago, didn't he? And he wasn't able to get away with it with a breather in that race, and that race was probably a lot stronger than this one. So certainly it looks a good opportunity for him to lead and win if he can get over in the early stages.
I think you'd agree. If he draws one in this race, Ollie, you're looking at probably $1.30, $1.40. It's just a tricky draw that makes it a little bit difficult.
And we know he just has to be out in front as a horse, a Kudo to run his best races. How many units are we going to have on that one, Bomber?
Yeah, 2 units will go all in at the start and hope he does get across.
All right, he's currently $3.90, open $4, so not a touch, but still holding up at about $3.90 for Akuto in race number 1. Then we go to race number 3. Now, this is a terrific race. It's the Remembering Josh Dunn, and it's a really good race. We've got Fleur de Marquis at $16, see if I can get some flux up here as well. Flutter Marquee at $16. Our Lady Jen at 23. Dark Eyes at 16. What are the odds at 8? Follow Rock and Roll 23. Better's Pride. This has been the best supported so far. 480 into 310. Lion Queen at $7. Star Casino 420. Golden Load outside the front line at $4. And only runner off the back line is Soundwave at $41 as the last start winner. This is a terrific race, Bomber. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I think this is another one that if he'd have drawn one, we'd take long odds on. And Better's Pride, he can cross here from the middle gate, and if he does, I can't have him beaten again. It's there is speed underneath, predominantly from the pole with Fleur Marquis, but in this class and with Better's Pride coming across pretty hard, I'd expect it to probably take a sit. And yeah, instead of Better's Pride crosses, I think we're on a winner.
He was a very good winner last start, wasn't he? In what was looked a pretty hot race. The Star Casino was so good to battle on and run second, but Better's Pride got over the top, and there's a rematch here, and Better's Pride has the barrier draw advantage, so looks pretty hard to beat, doesn't he? How many units are we going to have on that one, Bomber?
Yeah, another 2 units. As like we've seen last week, he doesn't have to lead to win, but I think it's obviously his best chance, and he's a massive chance across.
All right, there is Better's Pride, who is currently 310 after opening up at 480 and holds the call tomorrow night, the on-top tip. Let's take a break, though, and as we go to the break, let's listen to Better's Pride last week. It was another really good race. He's racing a couple that he's going against tonight, but it was a really good quality race he won last week. As we go to the break, here is Better's Pride, proving too good for Star Casino.
Better's Pride are both coming, and then Spyglass in at 28.8, but it's Better's Pride on the outside, racing after Star Casino. Menemsha, Star Casino in front, Better's Pride driving, Better's Pride goes to Star Casino, Better's Pride lunge.
Hi, I'm Steve Sell from Loans 123. We are car finance specialists. We can help you find the loan you're looking for, your new car, and help find a home for your old one. If you want a new or used car but feel uncomfortable visiting car yards on your own, we can help and often save you money. For a stress-free way of buying and financing your next car, who do you see? Steve Sell at loans123.com.au or call 1800 100 100.
Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Some battles on in the straight. Waves of Fortune in front. Here's Toby George, but Waves of Fortune's got the lead. Toby George the outside trying to cut it down. Waves of Fortune, Toby George. Waves of Fortune, Toby George goes up on the outside. They hit it. Waves of Fortune and Toby George hitting it together, and third home Aussie captain back on the inside. Viva lost.
They hit it together, and the result, dead heat.
Funny, I think Michael Young, he declared Toby George, and
yes.
Matt Young, he declared Waves of Fortune. I think there was a joke going out after the preview that said, the only way they both don't lose is if there's a dead heat, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, both didn't lack for confidence. If you listen to the preview last week, the Retrovision preview, and yeah, Waves of Fortune, Toby George, and a dead heat in the last. And I think early in, when Silky was talking about it, said it's probably going to be the race of the night. We should wait up for it, and turned out to be a great race for these two young horses coming through. Yeah,
so maybe a Quinella on the two might have been the best way to play it, but no, it was a terrific race, and they looked two of the nicer 2-year-olds.
Yeah, they certainly look like they're going to progress further. All right, this segment is brought to you by the one and only Steel Blue Boots, built for comfort, made for work. Well over 700 stockists nationwide. They are market true skill. And to view the great range of premium work boots, go to steelblue.com. And our man Ross Fitzgerald has a couple going around in the Pearl Classic again. After winning the Diamond Classic last week, he just racks up winning races.
It's such a dominant team, isn't it? If you buy, a few people have said to me, if you buy horses with Ross Fitzgerald, you're bound to be successful. So
you want to be in with him. He does help. He can't help all the way. as I can attest.
Yeah.
But he's in rolling fine with it. Hopefully he's sprinkled some of his magic on him on this weekend. But, he can find a horse. He's got a couple in this week in Elite Fleet and also on Massimo. So
yeah, and obviously got Never Ending to look forward to later in the year.
Ideal Beach.
Yeah, gee, there's a few good horses in there.
Mighty Ronaldo. There's been a few. Anyway, he's got Mickey's Beach as well in tomorrow night. So let's look at the next race. We get a preview and have a deep dive in. It's race number 6, and it's the G He's a Sport Team Bond. And this is up to 70 for 4-year-olds and over the 21-30 metres. Let's have a look at the Tab Touch market. And we've got Sundancer Rainbow, $20. Malaki at 13, Lucy Kane 20, Scratch the 4, She's a Mare at $26, Jackie Dangerals 18, Push Button Rock 14, Sugar Delight is the favourite $2.90, pretty solid. Stormy Skies open $2.65 and favourite now out to $3.10, so just behind Sugar Delight. Then the back line we've got Recover Lover 26, Relative Liama at $8.50 and Hunt the Magic at $7. Bomber. This looks like there's a few fighting out for favouritism in race number 6. Which way you go?
Yeah, shopped a bit of value here, Rads. I thought Relatively Armour would appreciate the grade, and while she follows out a moderate beginner, I'm expecting plenty of speed in the race with its gate speed right across the front line and a couple out wide. So she'll get the opportunity to trail a helmet out 3 wide on the way home, and she rarely gets a chance to do that. She's up there doing most of the bullocking work in her races, so she might appreciate just getting the one run at them, and at a nice price, there should be some chance.
Yeah, she does look very well graded there. She's obviously taken on some better company than this, and if the speed is on her, and Hunt the Magic will be pretty well suited coming into it late. How many units are we going to have on Relatively Armour?
Well, funny you should mention Hunt the Magic, because I reckon I've been on 5 of the last 6, so hopefully she's not the one to knock us off, Ollie, but just the 1 unit Relatively Armour, as I agree, she looks the class.
All right, and the final race we're going to have a deep dive into is race number 8. This is the Minstrel Team Bond of Pace, 3-year-old fillies, and it is over the 21-30 metres. We've got Shuby's Double 101, Head Office 101, She's All Go 101, Ruia at $13, Lucky Copy at 17, Spirit of Whippy 460. Then we've got Wicked Lover at $5.50. Delulu is favourite, pretty solid at $2.10. And Poppy on the Beach, 9 across the front here. It's outside of the front line and it's $3.70 Poppy on the Beach. The favourite is Delulu at $2.10. Very solid in betting. Bomber, which way are you going?
Yeah, I like this filly, Delulu. She's probably my pick of the night. She's a strong filly, and as long as she keeps her barrier draw ascendancy over Poppy on the Beach, which will both want to work forward, I think she gets a chance to dominate the race. If she happens to work to the top, then she becomes a long odds-on chance, but she probably most likely lands in the breeze, and I think she can still dominate from there. She cruised around to win a trial recently after an uncharacteristic mistake last time, and her class is going to take her a long way here, I think.
It'll be interesting how it plays out early. Obviously, we've got Wicked Lover underneath there as well, who was able to lead in a pretty similar race to this one when Delulu made the error and Ruby Livera came over the top and has since obviously won the feature race last week. So, there's a few nice horses going around, but Delulu, she is a really nice filly, so she'll be hard to beat again, won't she? How many units are we going to have on her?
Yeah, 2 units, Ollie.
2 units for Delulu, 210 currently. Do you reckon she'll firm even further? Do you think we'll touch the tomato sauce with her?
I think even money's probably about the right. Yeah, she won't get much shorter. $1.90, $2, I would have thought, Red.
All right. Have you got a multi for us this week, Bomber?
You're going for a bit of a place multi, just the 2 legs. Race 2, number 11, Dawson. I thought he was really good last week when he did a heap of work, and draws 11 tomorrow night, gets a chance to trail through and have the last shot. Looks to be a bit of speed up front, so I think he can get over them into a place. And then one at cricket score odds in race 7, number 1, Little Happy Fella. He's highly underrated, this bloke, and obviously, he's a sports the winner, but he'll ultimately end up 3 pegs in a race that looks to be completely pegs dominated. So I think he can get into a place at a really good price.
All right, that is race 2, number 11, a place at 175, and race 7, number 1, a place at 350. So just a tick over the $6 there for the place multi. All right, Bomber, hopefully we've bounced back this week.
Geez, we better. The phone mightn't ring next week. Right?
Well, it won't ring next week. We're going to have a week off, mate. So,
there you go.
So we'll have a week off. We'll all recover. Hopefully we've got some money in our pockets and we can buy dinner through the week, and we'll bounce back in about 2 weeks' time.
No worries. Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Good on you. There's Scott Bomber Hill. No, we'll bounce back.
No, we certainly will. We always do. We always do.
All confidence in Bomber to bounce back, and no doubt that he will. All right.
We won't know how to spend our money next week with no Talking Trots.
No. I think you'll find a way, Ollie. Now, tomorrow night, we've got the Trotters, and we spoke to Trent about his drive, Not My Gate. Obviously, Patched is going okay, but not much between those, $6 and $5.50. But the favourite is Majestic Gaga, who won last week, Ollie, for Emily, Michael, and yourself. And it was good to see.
Yeah, well, we were sort of thinking that maybe she didn't quite like trotting and she'd rather be a galloper. So we've discovered that she does actually go quite well when she trots all the way. And I think off the 10 metres there, she'll be really hard to beat. And she actually might start a bit shorter than the 2:35, I think. And she only really needs to get away within,
Well, it's realistic to the front line.
Yeah,
They're
it
all
is. 10 off metres.
There's none
10
off
metres.
the front, so 10 metres is the front line, and you're outside, which will obviously help.
She's probably not the best beginner from the stand, so hopefully she can just get away safely. And if she gets away safely and sort of isn't too close to those back markers like Patched and That's Not My Gate and Chimani, who was really good last week, I think she can be good enough to win again.
Yeah, well, the family's got 3 coming into the last. You know she's going to drive the last one.
Yeah, well, she might have 4 and looking for a 5th.
Looking for a 5.
Going one better.
Maybe. All right. Let's go to the break. Let's listen to Majestic Gaga breaking through here for a big team of owners, including the great Oli Cownie.
Majestic Gaga in front. On the outside, Lover Flare, and then Chimani. Majestic Gaga in front. Lover Flare trying hard, but she is the princess of Gloucester Park at the moment. 8 winners in 2 Friday nights, and there she goes again. Majestic Gaga.
New Mazda.
Yep, I love it. We got it from Bayswater Mazda.
I keep hearing great things about them.
They're fantastic to deal with. Great people, great coffee too.
At Bayswater Mazda, you'll always be well looked after. Visit the team today and find the best drive-away deals on new Mazdas and pre-owned vehicles. Driving is better with Bayswater Mazda.
So's the coffee.
Go and see Bayswater Mazda at the corner of Guildford and Garrett Road, Bayswater. DL 25174.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
Longreach Bay behind them as He's a Sport turns for home. It's Penny Black in second spot and 3 lengths away. Codename Marcus run on, but He's a Sport tucks the cup under the armpit, sails down to the line. Favourite salutes He's a Sport over Penny Black.
Yeah, that was He's a Sport, and dropping back from the big Group 1 races into the Narrogin Cup, which was still a strong field, mind you, but he was a short price favourite at $1.24. Denny Roberts' team bond again, and he looked the one to beat and just proved too strong.
Yeah, he was pretty dominant there. I think he did it with a bit in hand, and they ran a really sharp last 1200 as well there for Narrogin. So, he was always going to win coming out of the Fremantle Cup and the Nullarbor placings, but he did it with authority and he was really good, and Penny Black was really good in second as well.
Yeah, and he goes around in race 7 tomorrow night in Smarty Spoiled the Party, a name for Team Bond, after running placings to Mr. Sparty in the big races. And he's $1.08 tomorrow night up against Hobby's Way, Montana DJ, who are closest to him in the market with Armour X Factor as well. And he looks hard to beat again.
He'll be winning, I think, in that race, barring anything crazy happening. What a funny name, Smarty Sport the Party.
There's a couple of good names tomorrow night. Team Bond, Holy Moly, where's Rolly? After the great Rolly, Luke McCarthy's main man, Rolly Cross. Who was over here helping him out around the Nullarbor and Fremantle a couple of times.
He's obviously missing him.
Yeah, I think so. And there's a few other good names in there as well.
Galactic Star
in retirement.
He was a good horse, wasn't he?
Yeah, and good on him to the first race, Team Bond GP free entry, and it's free entry at Gloucester Park at the moment, apart from our big fireworks nights. So free entry at Gloucester Park. So
where would you rather spend your Friday night?
Exactly. So you'll be down here again on Friday night, won't you? Once you're Ollie?
Yeah, well, to watch hopefully Majestic Gaga win in the last race, that'd be nice.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, well, she was a good winner last week, and it was the first time she hasn't galloped in the race, so we were pretty pleased with that. And she's still on a pretty low mark, so she's only off 10 metres there, which is, she looks pretty well suited off.
Indeed. All right, this segment's brought to you by Bayswater Mazda. Driving is better in a Bayswater Mazda, corner of Guildford and Garrett Roads. Drove past it the other day and she's got a great range of new and used cars right on the corner there of Guildford and Garrett. And the service, after-sale service, the pre-sale service, the during-sale service, that's all happening at Bayswater Mazda, and they'll look after you. All right, big weekend of racing here in the West. We've got Bunbury on Saturday night. The first race at 6:15. The main race is the Meniere Classic for the 4 and 5-year-olds, $30,000. 9 runners to go around there, and a couple of really nice horses there, including Elta Tribute, who's been in good form, Sky Lou, Penny Black, Lusaka, Rolling Fire, On the Black Flash, Gully Gum. It's a good race. And then we head to Central Wheat Belt on Sunday. There's 6 races there, the first at 1:12, and you'll also give us a couple of tips at Albion Park on Saturday night. But let's go back to, we'll go to Saturday night to start with, and we'll go to Bunbury. And as I said, Mini Classic night, and for the 4 and 5-year-olds, 6:15 is the first race. Where are we going for the first bet?
We're heading to the second race, the first bet, and I was really keen on this horse earlier in the week, actually, Serafina, and thought she was maybe a little bit disappointing there at Pinjarra, but she looks to have found a race where maybe she can find herself on the front. She has reasonable gate speed. I think she can probably be pushed off the gate by Stewie McDonald, and if she can find the pegs, then she has options from there. And I think it's one of those races where, there's all a few in a bunch of a similar level, and if she can find the front, I think she looks a really good 1x3 proposition. The main dangers, they probably look to have drawn a bit awkwardly. Crunch the Numbers was really good there on Tuesday at Gloucester Park, and Charlie Brown looks to have a bit of ability for Aidan DeCampo, who is always hard to beat with those younger horses. But I'm hoping that our Serafina can just get a really good run, because she was incredibly unlucky 2 runs ago. So I think if she brings a similar effort to that, she can be really hard to beat on a 1x3 basis in that second race.
All right, the indicative market on the harness site is at $9. Is that where you think she is?
Yeah, I think she might be a touch shorter on the basis that she could potentially lead, but I'd sort of be happy with the $5 mark if we were able to get that.
All right, and what's the second bet?
The second bet is another one that raced earlier in the week, Skipping Class in race 4. He worked really hard in that race. He burned over and he got the front eventually, but he did a lot of work in that race, and that race was won by Better Have Faith, who was right back in the field and ran over the top of them. But Skipping Class was pretty badly held up there in behind the leader, which eventually was Barbados, but it took a long time for him to get there, and they went pretty hard. So I think there was a lot of merit in that run, and he maybe wasn't going his absolute best, but that run really suggests that he's he's somewhere nearer his best, and I think in this race he won't do any work in the early stages. He's off the back row, and he looks really well suited in this up to 50 race. I don't think there's any horses of the same quality of Better Have Faith or Vintage Blue in this race, and I think if he's able to get a little bit of tempo in the early stages, he can be finishing off that race really strongly, and I think he looks pretty hard to beat.
And Lachlan Kennelly on, the young driver.
Yeah, well, this new system is really suiting those younger drivers getting into races like this. The horse is an NR51, so with that claim gets back to a 46 and is able to race in this race. So for those trainers that utilise those claims, it really is quite beneficial, and we've seen those junior drivers driving so many winners recently, and it seems like a lot of them are developing into really nice drivers.
All right. Did you like one in the Mini Classic?
I thought
it's a good race.
Oh, it's a fantastic race. There's going to be a really interesting battle in the early stages to who ends up leading, but Alta Tribute, it's hard to go past him, what he's been doing recently. He was huge his last few starts, and then last start he was beaten by a pretty nice horse in Lion Queen, who probably had the right run in the race and was able to come over the top. And if he was able to lead in this race, Alta Tribute, I think he'd certainly take some beating.
All right, Sunday we have Central Wheat Belt, 6 races, the first at 1:12. What do you got for us?
Got one in race 4 for the in-form combination, Emily Savalco and Michael Young, who combined for a few winners on the Metro card last week and the week before. So going with Alexander the Great, who's been in fantastic form of late and was a really impressive winner last start, opened up a big margin and came off speed there, which is not something she's probably been known for doing much in her career. And yeah, she won by 20 metres at Kellerberrin there last start, and she lands in a race here where she draws gate 1. So really, she looks like she'll lead the race, and if she leads the race, it's really hard to see anything in this field that'll be able to run her down. Maybe the 2 Lang Inwood runners off the back row might be the 2 hardest to beat, but I'm really confident that the way Alexandra the Great's going, she'll lead and she'll be really hard to catch. She's a very good front runner, so expect her to be very hard to beat.
All right, that's race number 4. Another one for us?
Yeah, we're going to head to the race straight after that, and I thought Into the Future was a really good effort on Monday at Pinjarra. He was probably a horse last time in that was maybe faster than he was tough, but he sat off a really strong tempo there. They ran 156, and yeah, they were going hard the whole way, and he was still able to finish off really strongly there into third behind what looks a reasonably smart horse in Last Hard Copy. So he drops back into a race here at Kellerberrin. It just looks like he's not quite got the same opposition in this race. He's got a few stablemates to contend with, Official Rock and By Royal Command. I thought he was a much better run there on Monday, and I think he's going to be really hard to beat, despite what looks a pretty awkward draw at Kellerberrin there. You don't generally want to be outside of the back row, but I think he's just got a little bit on these, so going to be really hard to beat.
All right, that wraps up WA Country for the weekend, and then Albion Park, your home track, so to speak, on Saturday night, 10 races. The first at 3:19 WA time. What have you got for us there?
Yeah, it's a good little card, this one. 10 race card, plenty of racing there, but I'm going to kick things off in race 2 with Delhi Roy, who's been in brilliant form. He was able to string a sequence of wins together not long ago. Before that came undone last start, but he was nearly a month between runs in that race, and he burned pretty hard to get to the front there, and it was a rain-affected track, so it was a little bit slower going, and he did all that work. So he draws gate 1 here. Although it is a very nice field, I feel like he has to be the one to beat, given the draw and given probably what looks to be a pretty comfortable lead, and all his dangers look to be doing a bit of work in the race. Speak the truth, he's first up from a spell. Jim RT, he's been going really well, but he's just had no favours again from the draw. So I think Delhi Roy can lead, he can control things, and he's a really fast horse. So if he gets away with enough on the front end, I think he's going to be incredibly hard to catch there.
All right, that's the second. Race 2, number 1, Delhi Row. Any others?
I'm going to tip one in race 4, and Mort's probably wouldn't be too happy about this one. It's a stand start for the Trotters, so we'll certainly be holding our breath in the early stages. But this horse is clearly the top seed trotter in Queensland. Gus, he can do a few things wrong, but the ability's there, but he's just he's still figuring it all out. But his recent trial was pretty incredible. He beat a horse called Always Smokin', which is also in the Turpin stable, and Always Smokin' was a nomination for the Inter-Dominion last time in, and I think he might be a nomination again this time in. So, it shows the calibre of pacer that he's been able to beat there. He's a pretty incredible horse on his night, and I think he can just be settled early, and he's only 20 metres off them, and he's been off bigger handicaps, and his main danger to me actually looks to be Zealous Spur, who we were with last week, and he was a winner there, and he's going awesome at the moment. But certainly none of the horses off the front row step all that well, so I think he shouldn't be too far away from them, Gus, and really if he's within 20, 25 metres, I think he'll be a little bit too speedy for them late.
Yeah, well, he sort of came to prominence about 18 months ago in that Inter-Dominion in Queensland when he made it through to the final, and then after that, about 6 months later, he went through the DJ Alexander series, and then the Trotters Championship up there, and was too good.
I think there was one run there in the Inter-Dominion where Chantal Turpin was on him, and she couldn't hold him back to the field, and he zipped around them, took the lead, and he ran a massive race, and I think he went down narrowly to one of the better trotters there. So he's got a motor, but he's obviously a tricky horse to deal with.
Yeah, and we're seeing more of Mouse Brennan's horses in Queensland. Express Party won today, the 3-year-old, and he had one in the heats of the Breeders' Classic during the week. Ran third behind Timmy Teo and Fight for Victory, who over the mile galloped, went around, sat outside him, and got beat by neck.
It was just one of the most incredible runs.
If he stays in his gear, he'll win the final by as far as you want him to.
And it was actually a bit of a heavy track. And if you look at the sectionals there, they've come home, just 55. Yeah,
54.8 was the mile rate, 27.8, 28.1, and he's galloped.
It's just an incredible run.
Yeah.
So those two, the winner and the third horse there, they're really nice horses as well, and I think they'll both win plenty of races. But the Dixon horse to do what it did was quite incredible.
Yeah, he's got to have another strong hand, Grant Dixon, as he always does up there in the 2-year-olds. He had a couple of winners, and he's qualified a few for the final, but if he stays in his gear, whatever beats Fight for Victory, he'll be winning.
Yeah, well, I guess he'll be ODM now for the final, which isn't ideal, but certainly will take a pretty good horse to beat him. I think he went 153 in his win prior, which was, pretty much under a hold for a 2-year-old to run that sort of time on his second start.
Has he been picked up for the Protestar yet? Or although Seymour's got a spot, he'll just put.
Yeah, Seymour's. I think he owns a slot, so I assume he'll go in his slot. And I saw there was a runner picked up today from one of the stables. So
okay.
It's all coming together. I think they've only got 2 that have been locked in, and it's all approaching pretty quickly. So
yeah. No, it's sort of tough because you're trying to sort out who the best 2-year-olds are, and we may not have seen the best couple yet debut from the eastern states, and I know Emma and that'll want to go up and take a few up, and I think Ballarat have got their own race. They've got a slot in the race, Ballarat, and they'll run a race to see who qualifies to go up. So be interesting, the slot race for the 2-year-olds of Protestar, $500,000 on the line.
Certainly will, and it's all a really interesting dynamic because it obviously is quite taxing for 2-year-olds to get to the races, and then they had their first few starts and they might be terrific, but by the time the race comes up they might have trained off or things like that, so you just never know. And it always takes shape, really late that race, which, really adds to the interest. There's a lot of mystery and, we're not really too sure how it all panned out.
Because there's a few Victorians and New South Wales horses talking about going up and trying to get a slot, so that'll play out in the next couple of weeks. All right, it's been a big show. Oli, thanks again for deputising for Morts. You've done a great job as usual.
Always very good to come on. Thanks, Rads.
The chat to Trent was good. He's a very nice fella. Driving great. And good to see him getting the results on the track. And he comes up with a great drive in the main race this week. Bombers obviously found us a few winners as well. So hopefully you found us a few winners as well, Ollie.
Fingers crossed, yeah. Whenever the guests come on, they all generally tend to drive a few winners, so I'm sure he's going to have a good night, Trent.
Yeah, indeed they do. All right, thanks to you, thanks to Bomber, thanks to Trent, thanks for Amelia for pressing all the buttons. Thanks you for listening. Good luck over the weekend. Hopefully we found a few winners. We're going to have next week off, and then we'll be back fresh the week after. So until then, it's bye for now.
Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.